All right, today we're going to tackle a question that seems so simple on the surface, but trust me, it opens up one of the most mind-bending concepts in all of mathematics.
So let me just ask you, straight up, is infinity, you know that symbol that looks like a sideways 8, is it actually a number?
And the answer, maybe surprisingly, is no. Just no. It is absolutely not a number. Now, if you thought it was, you are definitely not alone. But realizing that it isn't is the first huge step. Okay, so if it's not a number, what in the world is it? Well, it's an idea, a concept. And that difference right there is the key to understanding how this whole thing really works. So let's dive into this first part, the idea of infinity. To really get why it isn't a number, we've got to first talk about what this idea even is. I mean, how do you even begin to define something that, by its very nature, just doesn't end? You know, mathematicians don't think of infinity as some place you can actually get to. It's more like a description. Think about a number line. Does it just stop? Of course not. It goes on forever in both directions. And what do we call that forever? We call it infinity. It's the answer to where does the line end? The answer is, it doesn't. Okay, now for the really fun part. How does this thing actually behave? Because it doesn't play by the same rules as regular numbers. And honestly, this is where it starts to get a little weird. Here's a great way to think about it. Any real number, I don't care if it's 5 or 5 billion, it represents a specific amount you can measure. But infinity, you can't measure it because it's not an amount. It's the concept of endlessness itself. You can always add 1 to a number to make it bigger, right? But you can't add 1 to infinity to make it more infinite. It's already complete. It's the whole shebang. So let's just nail this down. Infinity isn't some giant number waiting for us at the end of the line. It is the reason the line has no end. It's boundless, it's complete, and it exists totally outside the system of real numbers we use every single day. All right. This always leads to the next big question, right? What about those absolutely massive numbers we hear about? Like a Googol. Are they infinity? Are we getting close? So let's take a Googol. That's a 1 with 100 zeros after it. I mean, that is a huge, huge number, almost impossible to wrap your head around. But, and this is the most important part, it's still just a number. It's a specific quantity. It has an end. And if you thought that was big, get this. A Googolplex is a 1 followed by a Googol of zeros. You literally could not write this number down. There isn't enough matter in the entire known universe to do it. But still, it is a finite number. It has an end. And see, that's the whole point. You could take a Googolplex and just add 1, and then you'd have an even bigger number. So even these unimaginably huge numbers don't get us to the edge because there is no edge. And that really brings us to the heart of it all. The set of numbers goes on forever. It is limitless. But infinity itself is not one of those numbers on the list. It's the idea of the list being limitless. Okay, I know this all sounds super abstract, right? Like some weird far-out math concept. But you've actually bumped into infinity out in the wild, probably more times than you think. Let's find it. You've probably done this a million times. Grab a calculator, divide 2 by 3. What do you get? 0.66666, and it just keeps on going. Forever. That little trail of dots, yep, that's infinity. Right there in a simple math problem. So you see it in repeating decimals. We've talked about it as the concept for the ends of a number line. And here's a cool one from geometry. You know how parallel lines never ever touch? Well, in theory, they eventually meet at infinity. See? In every single case, it's not a place or a number. It's the idea of forever. So what if infinity isn't just one idea? We figured out it's not a number we can count to, but this really powerful concept of endlessness. It's everywhere, helping us make sense of a universe that's way bigger than we can ever measure. So the next time you see that little sideways 8, remember, you're not looking at a number. You're looking at the idea of what lies beyond all the numbers.